This is Edwin K. Morris, and you are about to embark on the next Pioneer Knowledge Services Because You Need to Know, a digital resource for you to listen to folks share their experience and knowledge around the field of knowledge management and nonprofit work. If your company or organization would like to help us continue this mission and sponsor one of our shows, email byntk@pioneer-ks.org.
Meu nome é Larriza Thurler, eu sou do Brasil, ensolarado, mas eu estou atualmente no não tão ensolarado lugar que é Londres. Well, my name is Larriza. I'm from sunny Brazil, but I'm currently not in not so sunny London. And I love both. I'm a person of sharp contrasts. I've already lived and enjoyed the hustle and bustle of New York City and Rio de Janeiro, and the peace and calm of Milford in Kansas with a population of less than 400 people when I was a high school exchange student in the US. And also Andrelândia, a city with 12,000 people in Minas Gerais state in Brazil during the pandemic, with cows, chickens, horses, dogs, and cats, and of course, a very nice internet connection to do my work. At the time, I was doing KM consultancy for UN Women and IFED. For me, it doesn't matter where you live since you found what moves you, your ikigai. And in my case, it's my family and my work. I'm a mother of a 5-year-old boy, and I have a bachelor's and master's degrees in communication. I still have that journalist spirit. But I found myself when I came across knowledge management more than a decade ago. I was working in the internal communications department of an organization in Brazil when I was invited to be part of the team that would implement a KM department. I didn't know what exactly KM was, but when I did, I just found my habitat. Then I pursued my doctoral degree in information science, studying knowledge management, and I did a career change to have a more flexible life with a focus on research, consultancy, and academy. I'm a consultant, a researcher, and a lecturer in the field. I love connecting people, organizing, creating content, making sense of things, learning through teaching, researching, and working with data. I'm now an Open Data Institute Research Fellow 2022. I envision a future that advances knowledge sharing and collaboration. The absolute best advice I have received was, be careful about what you wish for, you may get it. And that was from my grandpa, who is almost 100 years old. I can say I'm lucky enough to say that if I had to relive my life exactly as it was over and over again for eternity, in reference to Nietzsche's eternal return, I would do it.
You're pretty awesome. That's quite a package you just put together there. Well done. Tell me about the work with the United Nations. What exactly was that about, and what was it for?
That was an amazing experience because it was just before pandemic started. Sometimes when I think about pandemic, we think, oh my God, it looks like a century ago. I was doing a KM consultancy in a program for empowerment of women in the private sector. It was in 6 countries, so that was a huge challenge because it was only one in Portuguese, Brazil, and the other ones in Spanish, Argentina, Chile, Costa Rica, Uruguay, and one in English, Jamaica. So 3 languages. So we had to think in ways of people accessing that knowledge, and even when the program ended. So it was something they could still be using and exchanging experience too. So we got all that internal challenge to organize the knowledge, to make people know where the knowledge was and how they could use it, and also to see what each country was doing, because sometimes they were doing similar knowledge products, they were not aware, and they could all do a translation. And also the external part of it, having communities of women or was entrepreneurs and or women working in human resources of companies to talk to each other about experience related to gender violence in the workplace or series of themes related to women. And we did a lot of communities of practice, and that was amazing. It was amazing because we got to get those women talking. It was a fantastic experience.
Sure. You created a multicultural knowledge management interface. Did you duplicate things by region, or did you somehow change anything for different cultures? Was there any consideration in building something specific, like the English version versus another?
Yes, we had that cultural specificities that we had to deal with that. And we had like a process, and that was very nice. In the middle of the experience, they launched UN Women knowledge process production. When we had to produce a new knowledge product, we had to see if first to say that we researched it to see there's something similar or not, and then to state the usefulness and relevance of it. And also, how could you monitor this later on? It was really sometimes a lot of work. Sometimes it's very nice to just stop before you do a knowledge product and to think about it. Is it really important to do it right now? Is it relevant? It will be useful? How can I know that?
This process you're talking about, do you have a template that's shareable?
I can see what is possible to share, or just to, if it's not possible to share, it's possible to share what's included somehow in it, the topics.
Okay. That is a key ingredient, I think, in the whole organization. When something is created, when you build something, what you think is the first time, be it a knowledge product or anything else, there's not an effort, there's not a concerted effort to go look and see what exists already. As in academic research, you're forced to go into the data banks and go look who else has done studies on things you've done. That's part of that research process. But in the day-to-day, most folks are just wrapped around tactical problems and dealing with people and dealing with situations that when something comes up as an option, as a new knowledge product or a new service or a new technology, there doesn't seem to be enough focus on what the organization already has and or has done. How much money has been spent in this type of product before? Why? Why is it not already in this organization? Maybe there's a good reason.
Yeah.
So instead of spending money, you focus on doing some research first.
That's right. And one of the things was the money, the budget, and also a plan to update the document. Because sometimes, I think it's Patrick Lamb that says the zombie knowledge. I don't remember if it's Riz, but a lot of zombie knowledge in the repositories. So we had in this document to set a plan to when it's supposed to be updated. With AI now, I think we have a lot of tools. I was talking to a friend who works in World Bank Group. It's someone that would be great to talk about here in the podcast. He was saying about the call knowledge package. It's like a dashboard. You are going to start a project. You put all the information in the dashboard, and then it gives you like past projects related to that one, research or reports, data that would be great for you to use it, people to connect, and it's all AI in that big organization database.
Wow.
That's fantastic.
Where do we get that? How do I get one? I want one of those. Where are they? Is it a Microsoft product? Is it a Google product?
I think no, I'm not sure. Like generative AI adapted to them.
Wow, that would be awesome. That would solve a lot of problems and give a lot of opportunity for showing usefulness of knowledge, the amount of usage, and what came out of the usage of knowledge to either create something else or to supplement something else. That would go a long way for all those folks that are all about the return on investment around knowledge management. You could simply say, well, here you go. That would solve a lot of issues.
That's true. To make technology work for us.
What do you feel is your strongest connection in the world of knowledge management? You talked about how you were introduced to it, but out of people, process, and technology, what's your favorite?
People. I think I'm more into the people. I'm a really tech fan. I'm hyper connected. I love technology. But you see, I was in the
You're not just connected, you're flipping hyper connected. Wow.
I was in the peaceful countryside, but with a very good connection so that I could have peace. It's all about people. And when I think about knowledge management, I think about Ba, the Nonaka concept, because it's how we make knowledge management. It's how we promote places or ambience for the knowledge to flow, to be created, to be shared. And that's the only way, I guess, for that happen, because we can't obligate people to do things. It's hard. You have that dashboard or that paper, the knowledge product. And if the people, they don't see value, it's important to have processes. It's very important to have technology. But people, for me, it's the most important part of KM.
So did you say the word BA, B-A?
Yeah, BA.
I thought I heard that, and I know what that is, but I'm going to guess 72% of the people listening do not. Can you tell me what that is?
Created by Nonaka, one famous researcher and author in the field. It's a place. It doesn't have to be physical, but that you feel safe, you feel that you can share what you know, you can create together knowledge. So I think even if the people who are listening to us doesn't know the word BA, if you are in a place, in an organization that you safe and you want to share knowledge, you got that BA on.
From Semantic Scholar, a web source, the article is called The Concept of BA, Building a Foundation for Knowledge Creation, and this was published in 98 with Nonaka and Kono, the two authors. Just to read from this so we can get a real pinpoint. It is a shared space for emerging relationships. They use relationships as the key element here. It can be a physical, virtual, or mental space. Knowledge in contrast to information, for those that are data people. Knowledge in contrast to information cannot be separated from the context. It is embedded in BA. To support the process of knowledge creation, a foundation in BA is required. When I hear that, all I hear is culture. That's the container of the organization culture that either allows BA or propagates BA or fosters BA or just the opposite, kills BA, that sort of thing, where everyone here has had that experience where one culture is positive and one is negative in that space. So how does that impact the world of AI? How does BA become something that is still relevant in a completely digital space?
If you think about repetitive tasks or monotonous tasks that you take a long time to complete, AI can do that for you. You have more time to make connections, relationships, and improve your BA. AI can help. This World Bank feature there, dashboard, I talked before. If that helps me to connect with people related to that project, that can help BA. If I could see a lot of lessons learned and I could not do wrong things or things that didn't work out well, that's great. I wouldn't like to commit the same errors that I don't even know they were there. I think that could help.
It almost sounds like, as you were saying that, it was like that platform that you described and what its function was for from the World Bank experience is BA.
Yeah.
It is BA. it becomes ba. It is a shared space for emerging relationships. And everything you just gave is an example of how that would be beneficial to the human in the loop of the work, is like you've just shortcutted all that time to useful nuggets that could be quickly either absorbed or disregarded, or at least empower the individual to have agency over the content they pull in or don't.
Yeah, that's right. You can see it's promoted, it exists only due to AI. I mean, it's AI that was the one that promotes that bar.
In order to have that motion, in order to have that fully engaged, do we still have to have a taxonomy? Do we still have to have certain elements of data and information management in play now? Or can we just free text search everything and not have to worry about labeling and all the parts and pieces that we have all spent a fair amount of time developing in order to be machine readable?
I think they evolved and they have to exist yet. Like the Nancy Dixon 4 areas of knowledge management, and you see the coexistence of it. What I'm saying that is I'm doing a lot of research about that. Morgan Stanley did a generative AI. I don't know the quantity now, but with all the documents they had for their financial advisors, so they could have all their knowledge in a knowledge base, and they tested with some gold questions, and they could put some questions and get the answers easily. But then they had 20 knowledge management professionals just, especially in the beginning, validating and just checking the accuracy and if it was learning right.
Mm-hmm.
And also for new reports, they got 300 people working to see things like taxonomy, to see how they could better write the document. So how can I write this document so the machine can learn and can read it? I think we need to fit the needs of the machine. And sometimes we have to unlearn, like machine, they have to unlearn. Google launched that program for machine learning. I guess mainly in this beginning, we have to have people to validate, to have that critical thinking about it.
So it's still going to be a curation element done by humans.
Yes, I think so.
I'm using curation in a general sense of verification, validation, back-end stuff that most people do not even do. As someone in the academic framework that gets beat up with the research process and how that all works, you come out of that doctoral degree with an acute understanding of second-guessing everything you read, because the validation is, I think, as a critical skill, I think when you self-validate something or you assume something's truthful or correct, it is an assumption. How do we not let AI become the source of knowledge, the oracle of all things? How do we not let that go unchallenged as people that are the social media muddles of the current society level? They consume, but very little validation.
Yes, I guess we always have to have people as monitoring and looking if there's some bias or mistakes. For instance, in New York City, they use AI for schools, like you choose the schools, the preferred schools for your child, and then a system just distributes. And I was reading that they have a task force or a group of people to see if it was not biased. We can't forget, we have a lot of discussion about that. So far, a lot of the coding is made by men, and they can reproduce the bias. So.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that, it becomes so natural. And by natural, I mean it's an innate tendency. It's not like you mentally throw a switch. It's not like a conscientious decision tree. It is very...
it's unconscious bias.
Unconscious, yeah. I mean, it just can slide in there and you're not even really aware of it because it's just been such a part of your system since birth. You just assume that's normal. That's normal. So how do you strip out all the personal... That here you go. You want to build some software. How do you build a software that is unbiased? And who gets to define what bias is?
Yeah, that's tricky. Too, yeah. One thing they do is like encourage more, for instance, more women or more Black people to be in that software development field, so have more diversity. That can helps to improve it. And also, we have to, first of all, with unconscious bias, is to be conscious about it. It's the first thing because since it doesn't solve immediately, but since we know there's a bias, oh, we can think more and we can discuss this. And I think we take kind of generations to change. I'm a mother of a boy and I see things that, wow, and luckily we can see improvement in the next generation. But there's one group I love to follow informations and podcasts and all this is the Center for Human Technology from Tristan Harris. He was in that movie Social Dilemma. And he and his partner, the co-founder of, they got also podcast, very interesting, Undivided Attention. He worked at Google. He was saying that if we could do some small changes in the software development industry or in the big techs, and the technology is available for that. We just need to be aware and to make more human technologies. And they have a lot of documents and talks and suggestions for that. And I think we need to get together to think about that and to do small changes that will make a big difference in the future.
Let's take a look at some demographics that I just pulled up, reflective of this year. And I can't cite the source because I can't really see where the source is, but it's one of those Microsoft Bing answers. So the source is Microsoft Bing. I'm a Binger, not a Googler. Demographics of the tech industry in the U.S. are as follows. These may be a surprise to some, but for most of us that have been in this end of the business, it's not surprising. 62% of tech jobs are held by white Americans. Black Americans hold 7%. Latinx Americans hold 8%, and Asian Americans hold 20%. 26% of tech jobs are held by women, and men hold 73%. The average age of an employed information technology pro is 42 years old. So that's kind of a slice of what you're speaking of, because just by that natural occurring element of who's white, who's Latinx, who's Asian, whatever, those come with whatever that baggage set is, whatever those goggles are that you were raised with or genetically adhered to, show up. And as you said, if you don't have enough of diversity across the pool to begin with, that's the problem, or that is a problem.
That's right. Glad you brought so fast those numbers there so we could have a broader picture of it. Yeah, and it could more tangible to think about it.
Exactly. Because I want to go back. I want to throw something in the future for you to see where you're going with this. So if AI becomes the generator of software, what if we get to the point where we don't have to worry about little demographics like this because we've got a machine that builds code, so we don't have to worry about bias? What happens when we become intergalactic? You know, the bias of everybody on this planet is, oh, we like oxygen, we like water, we're all earthers, you know, we have that all in common. But once we start traveling to Mars or wherever there's another population out there in the galaxy or other galaxies, how do we become? Is it race biased? Is it just? I mean, the human race is biased because X, and X. You know, they were raised on Earth. They have no idea what the real world's about. How do we compensate? How do we excel this concept? Because I know there's still a bunch of folks that won't hear this, what we just talked about. They won't, oh, that's nonsense, or you know, we don't need to worry about that. What's your prediction? How are we going to navigate the stars?
Wow, that's so futuristic. I mean, it's I haven't been so far.
Well, think about it. It's going to be in your time frame, in your lifespan, at least your kids' lifespan. My prediction. That's just the way things are going.
If it depends on him, yeah. I don't know. I think we can't forget that even if the machine, the robots, they will be doing this, they learn with our inputs. So we have to be aware of it. In the introduction, saying about my grandpa, to be aware about what you ask for so you may get it. I think we have to be aware of what we input to the machine, because we'll get it back in this planet or in another planet. It's us. It's all about us.
It sounds to me the most critical skill humanity has to sharpen up is critical thinking.
Yeah.
Because as we more and more rely on somebody else's sources of information, somebody else's assumptions and or analysis, unless we've got enough to propagate in our own brains questions and suspect, where's this data coming from? Unless we build that into our basic elemental skill set for every human, then there's always going to be suspect of bias, regardless if it's machine-oriented or generated or human.
You're right. I think in the knowledge management field, I think that's one of the most important thing we can do. Improve and to not forget about critical thinking, and also and to make sense of things, because we have to, even more with a lot of information, that deciding, considering for that, because you have to make choices all the time. You have more choice to do. It's important too, I guess, is kindness. I think we can't forget to be kind, to treat people in the right way. And what I'm saying is sometimes I haven't seen a research about it, but when a lot of people talks to Chat GPT, we put like please or say good morning. If we do that with a machine, sometimes, and even the meetings on the virtual ones, remote work, we have to have empathy and kindness, because I think that improves relationships and then improves knowledge sharing and knowledge management. We are humans. I think we have to remind that. And that's what makes us special and different.
Well, I asked Bing about the importance of kindness, and it's kind of funny. Tell me what you hear based on these details. Kindness is important because it can lower stress levels, increase the body's production of feel-good hormones such as dopamine, oxytocin, and serotonin. It makes others feel good and safe. It inspires others to be kind. It creates a positive environment. It provides clarity. It can brighten up someone else's day. And of course, the last one that is a catch-all for everything. It's just good karma. The interesting thing is that when I read that and when I hear myself read that, I hear ba.
Yeah.
This is ba.
That's true.
Kindness is ba.
Yeah. And the machine is learning well.
Yeah. Very good, my friend. I think we've covered a lot of things and we've gone to the stars and back, and I'm excited about all of that push. And I saw your eyes kind of roll a little bit when I was asking these questions, but somebody's got to ask these questions, because it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
So how do you define knowledge management?
I would say knowledge management, it's about people and relationships and networks. So it's having a bar for that.
Get your ball. Get your ball. You know what? I think we need to make a t-shirt out of that. That needs to get reinforced. And I think putting a bow of kindness around the ball is perfect sense.
That's a great idea. You are such an entrepreneur. You have that mindset.
I do. Always thinking. All right, my friend, any last words of wisdom to those young organizations out there that are struggling with their knowledge?
I would say connect with people, organizations. Don't be afraid to ask and to go for those people, because I don't know, I think our people are so passionate about knowledge sharing that we are open and we will share knowledge. When I went to New York City in 2015, I got in touch, for instance, what can I do here in knowledge management? I was doing my doctoral studies, so I reached to some universities, and one of those was Columbia University. They got the information knowledge strategy. I was like, oh, no one will answer me. I met Tom Stewart at Hoffman, and they were so kind to me. I was a Brazilian, I didn't know anyone. And then I got a connection with them and shared so many things and with the students there. And I can cite so many others like John Howell, a lot of people, just because we are in networking and we are connecting. And so we have the same challenges. We can solve together. We can see what they did. You have a lot of place and people to go, so connect with them.
I think that is great advice. I want to come back to this kindness concept because of two things. When we first met, we talked about what you're passionate about. The sentence that it came out of our first meeting was, how can people curate human connection with intent to learn and share? And that is exactly what you just described. There is a quote here in my search of the importance of kindness from Mark Twain. Mark Twain said, kindness is a language which the deaf can hear and the blind can see. So it's impactful, people. It is impactful, and it can make a huge difference personally and professionally. Well, thank you, my friend. It was a blast. I say let's continue to converse and be kind to each other.
Thank you so much. I love it.
Thank you for listening to Because You Need to Know, the reference podcast in knowledge management. My name is Soni Toneme. As an art administrator, Because You Need to Know has been my go-to podcast and has helped me hone my management skills. Please consider sponsoring the podcast with your business.
You have just finished our latest Because You Need to Know, a public service of Pioneer Knowledge Services. Please join us on LinkedIn and find us at pioneer-ks.org.